Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it. My name is Brody Gould. I am 63 years old. They say grief changes you slowly, like water hollowing stone. But when Marie died, it wasn't slow. It was an avalanche. The cancer came fast, aggressive. One week we were walking hand in hand at the farmer's market, picking up cherry tomatoes and arguing gently over which jam to buy. A month later, I was holding her hand in a hospital room, surrounded by machines that beep like cruel reminders of borrowed time. I watched her fade day by day, the sparkle in her eyes dimming, her voice growing softer, her body thinner. She still smiled though. Even in the pain, she smiled for me. "You'll be okay," she'd whisper, brushing her fingers down my cheek. "Promise me you won't stop living, Brody." But I didn't keep that promise. After the funeral, I came home to a house that felt like a tomb. Her teacup was still on the windowsill, her slippers by the bed. The smell of her lavender lotion still clung to the sheets. Every night I lay in the bed we once shared and reached for her in the dark, my hand landing on cold fabric instead of her warmth. I stopped answering the phone. I stopped eating properly. I couldn't walk past the rose bush she loved without breaking down. I found myself talking to her photograph, apologizing for things I didn't do, for things I couldn't fix. It was Gemma who finally called, her voice sharp but not unkind. "Dad, come live with us. Be near the grandkids. It's time." At the time, it sounded like a lifeline, a chance to escape the ghosts in the walls. I packed one suitcase and a photograph of Marie. I tucked her wedding ring into my pocket. I sold our house. Instead, I got the basement. Just until we finished the spare room, Gemma had said. That was 6 months ago. The basement was cold, unfinished, exposed pipes, flickering bulb, mildew clinging to the corners. The old cot creaked every time I turned in my sleep. I wasn't allowed upstairs without asking first. The fridge had a chain and padlock around it. I started buying crackers and hiding them in a shoebox under the cot. One morning, I climbed the stairs to use the bathroom and heard Kevin's voice through the kitchen door. "He's using the hot water again." I swear, "Gemma, he thinks this is a hotel." She didn't defend me. She never did. Later that day, I confronted her quietly. "Gemma, I'm not trying to be a burden. I'd like to have a meal with you, with the kids." Her face hardened. "Dad, we're doing the best we can. You don't work. You don't help. You just sit down there like a ghost." I swallowed the sting. "I lost your mother." "Well, we lost her too," she snapped. "You're not the only one grieving." Then they left. One morning, a suitcase in the hallway, car doors slamming. Island Aruba. I later found out. A full month. The power shut off that night. No heat. Then the water went. I tried the faucets. Nothing. The breaker box had been flipped intentionally. The first 3 days, I rationed my crackers. The next 2, I drank melted ice from the basement freezer. By the 6th day, my legs ached from cold and hunger. My mouth was dry. I tried calling, voicemail. I stared at the locked door, then remembered Kevin's bookcase upstairs. He kept cash tucked in old magazines. I climbed the stairs to the top floor and found $250 between the pages of guns and ammo. I left a note on the kitchen counter. "I didn't steal. I survived. I'll give them to you when we meet." Then I walked out into the night, into something that might still be called freedom. I hitchhiked to an inexpensive hotel. That morning, I remembered something Marie once said after her second chemo round. "When the world goes dark, find the switch they forgot you have." That switch was a bank account, one she'd quietly set up in my name. In the suitcase, I found the paperwork tucked deep in her jewelry box, but never gave it a thought. I called the number, gave my credentials, and the woman on the line said, "Yes, Mr. Gould, the balance is $210,016. I almost dropped the phone. By the end of the week, I bought a duplex. Nothing fancy, peeling paint, a roof that needed love, but it had a front porch and 2 working locks. Half for me, the other half, I wasn't sure yet. That answer came on a rainy Tuesday. She stood at the curb with 2 little girls and a black trash bag full of clothes. The woman's left cheek was bruised, eyes slightly swollen. She looked like someone who'd just run and hadn't stopped. "You lost?" I asked from the porch. "No," she said. I'm just Looking. For what? A place where no one calls me worthless. She didn't flinch when she said it. That told me everything. I stepped down, handed her the second set of keys. $5 a month, I said. You keep your side clean. I won't ask questions. She blinked. Are you serious? Deadly. My name is Helena. The older girl tugged her sleeve. Mama, is this our house? Helena dropped to her knees beside her daughters. It is now, baby. That night, I heard them through the wall, whispers, laughter, the soft clatter of pots being unpacked. The sound felt holy. The next morning, a note rested on my welcome mat. Thank you. I didn't know men like you still existed. I stood there for a long time, holding that piece of paper, listening to the wind move through the trees. I was beginning to remember who I used to be, before basements, before grief. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was building something, and someone would soon try to tear it all down. It started with the mailbox. A white envelope, no return address. Inside, a photo of me and Helena's girls at the ice cream parlor on Main. On the back, written in scratchy black ink, "You're not their grandpa. Stop pretending." I stared at it under the porch light until the ink bulled into my thumb. The next day, my lawyer called. "There's a guardianship petition filed against you," he said. "Your daughter claims you're mentally unfit to manage your affairs." I could hardly breathe. They left me to starve, Mason. I took $250 to stay alive. Now they want control over everything. They're arguing diminished capacity. You'll need to prove otherwise. So I began documenting everything. Receipts, photos, timestamps. I installed cameras, front and back. I filed for a restraining order, and I hired a private investigator. Helena watched it all with cautious eyes. "They won't stop, will they?" she asked one night while we shared dinner on the porch. "No," I said, "but neither will I." 2 days later, I came out to find my car windows smashed, glass like diamonds in the morning sun. No note this time, just a dead crow on the hood, its neck twisted unnaturally. Helena gasped when she saw it. "What kind of person?" "Kevin," I said, my voice flat. "It's his style, cowardice in feathers." We reviewed the footage. Kevin, hoodie up, baseball bat in hand. He left the bird like a calling card. I handed the drive to my lawyer that same afternoon. Then came the CPS visit. A social worker showed up, clipboard in hand, asking questions about Helena's girls. Someone had reported suspected abuse and neglect. Helena's hands trembled. "They want to take my kids away." "No," I said firmly. "They're trying to shake us, but we're not breaking." The investigation turned up nothing. The report was anonymous, unfounded, malicious. Still, it left a stain. That night, I sat at the kitchen table and rewrote my will. Every cent, every item of value, placed in a trust for Helena and her daughters. I wanted them protected if Kevin and Gemma ever tried again. As I signed my name, the wind outside howled through the trees. I didn't know what was coming next, but I knew war had begun. And this time, I wouldn't go down without a fight. Kevin's face reappeared in my life like a virus, smug, entitled, and this time sitting across from me in court. "He's not well," Kevin told the judge. "He's old, paranoid, and giving his money away to strangers." I sat still, hands folded, heart thudding like a war drum. My lawyer rose. "We have proof Mr. Gold is not only competent, but the target of harassment. And we've submitted financial records that may interest the court." The judge raised a brow. "What kind of records?" My investigator had uncovered it days before. A credit card in my name, opened 2 months ago, maxed out at $9,700. Flights, designer watches, an auto rental in Kevin's name. "I never signed for that card," I told the judge. "And my handwriting doesn't look like that." We submitted surveillance footage. Kevin withdrawing cash using the card, receipts signed in his loopy scrawl. My stomach twisted watching it, but I kept my expression stone still. Across the aisle, Gemma paled. Kevin's jaw tightened. Later in the hallway, I passed him. "You're a bitter old man," Kevin hissed. "You think this makes you the good guy?" I looked him in the eye. "No, but I'll die clean. You'll rot pretending you were ever decent." He lunged forward, but Gemma grabbed his arm. That evening, the judge issued a ruling. Kevin would face criminal fraud charges. The guardianship petition was dismissed with prejudice. My accounts were secured, my name cleared, but peace didn't return. Not really, because days later, Gemma called. I left him, she said quietly. I was wrong about so much. I didn't answer right away. There are wounds words can't undo. And some doors, once slammed shut, should be reopened. The morning I left, the wind had picked up. I stood in the doorway of the duplex one last time, suitcase in hand. Helena's daughters clung to my sides, Elise pressing a crayon drawing into my palm. Eva wrapping her arms around my waist. You'll still visit, right? Eva whispered. Always, I said, voice catching. I'll never be far. Helena met me on the porch. Her eyes shimmered. You gave us a home, Brody, a future. I smiled faintly. You gave me mine back. I handed her the final deed, signed, notarized, the property now hers. It's all yours, no catches, no conditions. She stared down at the paper, blinking fast. How do I thank you? Live well, I said, and keep the door open for someone else one day. As I drove out of town, the roads thinned and the sky stretched wide. No phone calls, no threats, no shadows in the mailbox. Just the steady hum of tires and the long breath of freedom. Gemma had tried to reconnect. Dad, I made mistakes, she'd said over the phone, voice brittle. Please, let your grandchildren see you. They ask about you. I hesitated. When they're older, when they can choose. I lost everything, she whispered. I paused, then quietly replied, so did I. Now in the quiet town where no one knew my name, I planted tomatoes behind a modest rental and volunteered at the library. I mailed postcards to Helena's girls with riddles and stories. Their replies came in glitter pens and crooked hearts. One evening, I sat by the window, warm mug in hand, and watched the trees bend with the wind. Not broken, just bending. That's what we do, I thought. We bend, we break, but some of us rise. The wind carried the last of the season's leaves down the road, and I let it take the past with it. Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.